Yep, it takes my new students all of about 30 seconds to find my blog and TpT shop. Hey, Mr. Indazzo, I read your blog post last night. Are you talking about third period? Maybe I shouldn't have used my real name. Hey everyone, welcome back to Summer on my YouTube channel. This week I want to talk about the bad side of TpT. Last week I talked about teacherspayteachers.com, a site that I love and think is a great resource for all of us, and you can watch that first video down there. There'll be a link. But this week we need to talk about the warts and the wrinkles, because there is good and bad in everything, as you know, and there are some things you need to be aware of if you're using TpT as a resource. So the biggest thing that I have found is, and I'm sure this is not news, kids cheat. They do. Not all kids, but enough that we need to be thoughtful about how we use the resources that we download, because TpT is an open marketplace. And so anything that you and I can download, kids and their parents, overly involved parents sometimes, can download as well. So I love TpT for teaching ideas and resources to use in class, but I would never use it for assessment tools. If it's downloadable and it's like there's an answer key, then you got to know that the kids are going to find it. Some of them will work 3 times as hard tracking down answer keys than actually just completing the assignment on their own. So whenever I see an assessment piece in something that I download, I use it for inspiration, but I don't use it verbatim. And that includes the materials that I create as well. So I create novel units, If Mice and Men, To Kill a Mockingbird, Gatsby, all that stuff is over there at my shop. And there are unit exams in all of those bundles because I feel like customers expect there to be. But those are not the exams that I use with my own students. No. And I don't think they're the exams that you should use with your kids either, because kids will cheat. And so I would say use those exams as inspiration, maybe modeling of types of questions, but then change out the questions themselves to be reflective of what you guys have been talking about and studying in class and what you want your particular kids to know, because kids are going to cheat. And I hate to paint all students with that broad brush, but I've learned over the years that enough of them will take the shortcut that it's something you just definitely need to be aware of. But I have to say, the idea of kids getting teacher answers, trying to shortcuts, that's not new or unique to TpT. So if you think back to when you and I were in school, kids were using Cliff Notes. Now they use Spark Notes. Kids were repurposing essays that their older siblings had written, and they still do that. But happily, we have turnitin.com these days. Haha. So we have to use the technology to circumvent the cheating attempts, but we just need to be ever vigilant and stay on our toes. So it's not new or unique to TpT. It's just out there. Okay, the next issue that I have found is that teachers, y'all have big hearts, and I love you for it. But we don't always have tech savvy like we need to, and we don't always respect the copyright issues, the laws that are surrounding these issues. So sometimes teachers will post materials on their class websites, and they've included, which they're not allowed to do legally, you're not allowed to share materials globally that you've purchased, right? You need to have it behind a password secured environment like Google Classroom or Edmodo or something like that. You can't just put TpT resources on a WordPress, Wix, Weebly, Blogger site unsecured. No. But then they also put the answer keys, which is doubly bad, because now you've broken copyright law and you've ruined the resource for other teachers who are using it, because their kids will Google the question and find the answers. So let's stop doing that. If you love Quizlet, and I do, it's a fantastic flashcard study website. That's great, but set your study sets to private. Don't put them in public view. And then you can give your kids the access that way. So, and I will say Quizlet has been great about taking down any violating study sets. They just switch that stuff to private really fast. So thank you, Quizlet people. You're awesome. And I try to stay on top of it as best I can, but you just have to know that that stuff's out there. And I know that that stuff's out there. So when I use my materials in my own class, and I do, I use them as in-class, if I study question set for a novel, right? So we're doing To Kill a Mockingbird, and I want my kids to dig into and do some close reading of the chapter that we just covered. We'll have in-class discussion using those questions as starters. Or sometimes I do give my study sets to kids as homework to be extra study support and reinforcement, but it's always as optional ungraded material. I'll look over it and give them feedback, but it's not for grades in the grade book because I am aware that they can put it in there and probably find the answer. And they also know about my shop. They also know about my blog. And so they know that they could go buy it, but why would they? Like, that doesn't make any sense, especially since it's not graded. So I mean, I guess they could give me $3 if they really, really wanted to. None of my kids have admitted to doing that. I don't know, that means they haven't. But yeah, I haven't had any scandals, I am happy to say. I have avoided all of that because I use different assessment pieces. So instead of an end of unit Scantron test, I might do open-ended short answers, or there might be, a timed in-class essay that the kids weren't expecting because it was a different prompt than the one that was in the bundle. So you just got to use your noodle, folks. So I've been using my noodle for a long time to make sure I stay a couple steps ahead of my kids. So there's that sort of issue. The next kind of wrinkle is there's this strange stigma amongst teachers that it's like, I don't know, like lazy or scandalous to use materials created by other teachers. And I'm like, no, like, why wouldn't we do that? I actually heard a couple days ago from a teacher named Shannon on the Facebook page. I actually printed it out so I can read it to you here. I'll print it down there so you can follow along. But Shannon talks about this point, and it's something I've heard from my fellow colleagues. In fact, I had a teacher colleague, I'm not going to name names, who was on TpT longer than I've been and has a store there, but uses an alias because this person just doesn't want colleagues to feel weird about it, and so doesn't kind of put their name on things, just keeps it with their fake name. And I respect that, but I don't know. I don't see there's anything to be ashamed of. Like, you're helping people make great things. Last week I mentioned that one of the wrinkles is that I don't think you should be paying for it. I think your school should be buying you the resources. And I talked about the schools program that TpT has. I'll have a link down there for you as well. And so I was really like trying to promote people to ask their administrators to buy the stuff for you. There's a really easy pathway to make that happen now. And then I heard from Shannon, which kind of speaks to this stigma idea. And she said, I would love for my district to register for TpT for schools, but I'm honestly afraid to send the request to my administration. I don't want to look like a lazy teacher. I've gotten some awesome resources from TpT though. It really is a community for collaboration. How do I express that to my administration? Oh my gosh, Shannon, and I talked to her on Facebook about this, so this isn't going to be new information to her, but I feel like we need to ask for the things we need. And if we let fear cloak us, the emotion of fear stop us from the logical, like, filling that need for the tools, then we lose, right? Like, we should ask for the things we need. So my advice to Shannon was that since she's already purchased other things that she likes, she should find a favorite administrator, somebody who probably was more recently a teacher, because they get it in a way that people who've been out of the classroom forever tend to forget. So find somebody who's relatively new to administration, or who has been a classroom teacher. Show them this cool resource that you've had success with. Mention that it would be really cool if the whole department was using that same resource, and that you have a pathway for that person to help facilitate that purchase. Resources at Teachers Pay Teachers are pennies on the dollar from what traditional education publishers charge. You in my shop for $1.25 can buy a tool that you can use with every class period you teach, every year that you teach, for the rest of your career. For $1.25. I mean, like, yes, of course, there are more expensive things as well, but like, let's get real. And you have direct access to chatting to the teacher author. Like, how would you use this? What would you do about that? And I respond to all those comments. So there's nowhere in education publishing where you're going to get that kind of tailored, detailed responsiveness for like nothing. And so let your administrators know that these tools will help your kids, and they'll free up teacher time to be more responsive to students. You can build community, and you can grade papers. You can give more meaningful and quicker feedback if you're not having to recreate curriculum in all of your extra prep time. When I saw TpT, and I saw that I could save 6 to 7 hours of building a PowerPoint by buying one from somebody for $2, that was pretty good. I was in. I was like, I'm going to totally save my weekend, my Saturday, and if it costs me $2, so be it. Even better, if my school vice principal would spend the $2. That's the way it should be. So I think we need to get over this weird stigma that's out there about it's lazy or that teachers shouldn't profit from their work. It should be teachers give away everything to other teachers. And yes, we should share. And oh my gosh, I feel like I share a ton of ideas and resources. But at the end of the day, I have expenses that go along with this. There's software I have to buy and fonts to purchase and stock photography and web hosting and server space fees. And not to mention my time and 20 years of expertise. I mean, I have worked at this stuff for 5 years, 30 to 40 hours a week, easy. On vacation, it's sometimes in crazy times, 60 hours a week on summer vacations, building materials. I feel like we deserve compensation. And so don't feel weird about it. We're authors and it's okay. And I value every single penny that I get from my colleagues. It's not a joke. You guys are helping put my youngest kid through college. And you're making my family's life a lot less stressful. And I'm really grateful for that. So why shouldn't we help each other do that? So anyway, that's my soapbox on that. So there's a weird stigma. I think we all should just get over it and we should empower each other and we should sing the praises. But hey, I know you're thinking that you're lazy because you bought something off a website. But you're not lazy if you use an anthology that the school district bought you. By the way, the materials that the district bought for you were probably chosen by people they were created by people and chosen by people who haven't actually been teaching in a classroom in a long time, if ever. So, you know what? I don't feel bad about it. I don't have a stigma about it. I tell everybody loud and proud. I think it's a great resource. And I think that we're silly to let fear control our actions. So let's not do that. Okay. Oh, my last wrinkle for this week's video, because I know I get going on these stuff. Okay. And this one has affected my life significantly. Okay, so a big problem with using TpT resources is we need to coordinate on grade levels and maybe even like school levels, middle school to high school in a district, who's using which resources. Because I gotta tell you, I have been bit in the butt too many times that somebody else has already used something I built. I'm like, so this happened in 2014, the very first time it happened. I was teaching freshman English at Amador, and I'll never forget this lovely student named Jennifer. She came up to me like in the second week of school, and she was like, Miss Randazzo, it was after class, I've already seen these lessons. And I was like, oh, you've already read these short stories? Because I always start with short stories. It's my first big unit. I was like, oh, you've already seen these short stories? She's like, well, yeah, I've read them, but I've also like answered these exact questions. Like I've seen these exact materials. And I was like, what? Because I was using the unit that I had made and offered on TpT, and she had moved over the summer. So as an 8th grader, she was in Fremont. And apparently there was an 8th grade teacher in Fremont, I don't know who you are, but awesome, who was using my exact unit that I was using with freshmen in Pleasanton. And so that's about half an hour away if you don't know the Bay Area. So I was struck by this odd mix of emotions. Like on the one hand, I was like, awesome, there's somebody out there who liked my stuff and was using it. Like, how cool is that? But then the other part of me was like, no, because it's like a 4-week unit. And I was like, no. So I talked to Jennifer. I was like, sweetie, thanks for letting me know. Yeah, I built these materials. I share them online. Do you want me to pull together a different set of materials, different set of stories that you could read on your on a separate track in class? And we can get you that. And she actually was like, no, that's okay, Miss Randazzo. I like the way you teach them. And I was like, oh. So Jennifer got a redo on the first few weeks of the freshman year because there had not been coordination. Not that we could coordinate between totally different school districts, but even within school districts, there have been times that bum me out when I'm with my juniors and I start to do my email netiquette lesson. And they're like, we did this last year with Mr. So-and-so. And I'm like, ah. So there are some lessons that we can repurpose on multiple grade levels. Like, I don't think any kid is going to be hurt by learning MLA structure and hearing that information again. But if we could make sure that we divide and conquer who's teaching what, that would be awesome, because that is a frustration as well. Okay. So all of this takes me to my last announcement so wrinkles, yes, wrinkles exist, good and bad and everything. There you go. I have posted this video early this week. You might have noticed. I usually post on Saturday mornings, but I actually posted early this week because I just found out some interesting news. So Teachers Pay Teachers is a website that operates independent of all the individual teacher authors who have their little shops there. It's almost like a giant shopping mall, and I have my little Laura Randazzo store in the giant teacher shopping mall. So the mall leadership just announced the back to school sale. They only tell us a couple of days ahead of time. And so I was like, oh man, it's happening August 1st and 2nd. So I was like, dudes, I gotta put a video out so you know what's up. So August 1st and 2nd, and I think I'm gonna post this on the 31st, day before. So it's Tuesday. So tomorrow and Thursday, from midnight tonight, Eastern Standard Time, till midnight on August 2nd, you can get 25% off everything in my shop and everything in a lot of shops over at the site. Everything in my shop will be marked off 20%. I'm taking 20% off the price. But if you use the code, and I wrote down the code, hold on, BTS Fresh, back to school fresh, BTS Fresh at checkout, the site will give you another 5%. So you can get 25% off everything in my shop. So if you need something, this is the time to do it. And this is a real sale. This isn't like those stores that they mark everything up the week before the sale and they have the sale and then they change the prices again later. There is a furniture store in town that has been going out of business for 2 years now. Like I drive by it and it's always like closing soon, going out of business. They've been going out of business for 2 years. So I don't believe them anymore, but this is not that. This is a genuine sale. If you want to save some dollars or you want to let your administration know that they can get bargain prices August 1st and August 2nd, back to school sales season, you definitely want to check it out. I'll put a link down there as well. If you're watching the video after August 2nd, 2018, I'm sorry, the sale is over. But if you subscribe to my blog or follow my store in TpT, you get announcements in your email about when sales happen. They happen a couple of times a year. I don't put my store on sale very often. I don't want to be that person. Hey, Blinky's dead. I already feel like it's a really great value for what you've got, but I definitely play along. When the whole mall goes on sale, I'm going to join the party. Okay, that is it for this week. I hope you guys are having a cool, easy breezy end of July. I will be back with more, not this Saturday. This video is going to count for this week's video, but next Saturday, I'll have another video for you guys. All right, I'll see you then. Thanks. Hey, have you liked the subscribed, told a friend, like you're supposed to do all that kind of stuff? There's a button or a like or a bell. There's all kinds of stuff down there. Click that stuff and then subscribe, and that would be awesome. All right, bye everyone.